It has hit a turning point for Montreal after a brutal start for the season. Playing on back-to-back nights, they get back-to-back wins, but it's not just the wins, it's the style of play, it's the dominance, it's the confidence, it's the doing what they need to do to make things happen on the ice, and not just from the stars like Suzuki and Caufield getting goals, but the guys with slow starts stepping up like Kirby, Dach, some of the young defensemen taking things to heart. There's a bunch of stuff we gotta dive into. Plus, I also have a little note on Jacob Fowler, so you won't want to miss this episode of Habs Digest, and we're actually going to step right into Jacob Fowler, and I want to show this first. Someone commented on the video yesterday that I missed out on Jacob Fowler, and I did want to give him some time. We didn't have much time in yesterday's video. There was a lot of stuff to get into, so just to give you a little update on our boy, our star goalie prospect, him, Michael Xhekaj, and Demidov, they are the future, and we got to keep a close eye on them. So in their recent game, by the way, Jacob Fowler's been off to an incredible start to the season. They beat Western Michigan. Jacob Fowler made 20 saves on 22 shots, getting the win once again. And let me just show you his stats on the season, because I know it's going to impress you. Jacob Fowler currently is rocking a .937 save percentage with a 1.51 goals against average. 3-1 on the season. He has started every single game for Boston College, and he has looked like a superstar so far. I think he had one game that wasn't super great, but every other game he has been phenomenal, like superstar level. And the thing with Jacob Fowler when you watch him is all the things that we were talking about last year being his strengths. Well, he definitely hasn't stepped back at all. This dude, his positioning is like otherworldly sometimes. You just watch, like, he makes tough plays look easy. And when you're evaluating goaltenders, that to me is one of the main things you really want to look for, right? Some goalies that are maybe more flashy make easy saves look hard, but Jacob Fowler makes hard saves look easy. And I know a lot of you are probably going to agree with that, so it's really been amazing to watch him. But also his athleticism, it's improving slightly. Like, I mean, you know, you'll watch last year's clips versus this year. It's not like staggering, at least not in my eyes. Maybe some of you will disagree, but what I will say is that his push looks a little stronger, and every single game it just looks like he's getting to the spot he needs to get to even faster. Didn't know that was possible, but again, to start the season with this much of an unbelievable few game stretch is really great to see. So shout out to Jacob Fowler. We gotta give him a lot of love down in the comment section below. But that was just a quick note before we get into the actual game. And I'm gonna pop up the box score for you guys. We all know. Let's see if I can make it a bit bigger. Maybe this is easier for you guys. Yeah, we got a lot of great stuff going on here. So Montreal, of course, playing on a back-to-back. Now, so was Philly, but Philly was coming off an afternoon game on Saturday versus the Minnesota Wild, where they won 7-5, and Filip Gustafsson, probably his worst game of his career. Yes, I watched a lot of that game, and yes, I was sad that Minnesota lost, but it is what it is. I knew the Flyers were rocking a back-to-back, so was Montreal, but we also knew coming into this game, that Philadelphia's goaltending situation was extremely questionable, with Ersson being their best starter, and even he was rocking like an .880 save percentage, and then they had the other KHL guy, I forget his name, Fedotov, I believe, Ivan Fedotov, he didn't play, so we got Kolosov, a Belarusian, the first Belarusian NHL goaltender, by the way, playing for Philly tonight, so shout out to him. But he's rocking an .875 save percentage in the AHL. And Montreal, well, they put a bit of a shelling on him for this game. But there was a lot of big points that I wanted to talk about. But let's start with one of the guys that maybe didn't get a point tonight, but has been really good. And that's our boy Lane. Lane Hutson is leaving Hater Station. And he's bringing all the haters with him. He was so good tonight. Now, do I have the hockey stat card? Oh, I don't have the stat card? I thought I had the stat card. Well, I have Demidov stats, but those are old stats. Yeah, so Lane Hutson, once again, was in the top 5 in terms of game score for Montreal tonight. I have the hockey stat card somewhere. Can I bring that to the video? Let's just see if I can do that. Well, it's not the cleanest way I've ever done it, but I did it just for you guys. I on the spot editing here, but you can see Lane Hutson, they're top 5 in the team again in terms of game score. Actually, a lot of the Habs defensemen showed out tonight, and they looked really good, and that is one of the big turning points, I think, for me, minus Mayu and Xhekaj, who both were quite poor tonight. I really didn't like the look of that pairing again. I know Mayu got an assist, but is what it is. But that's been one of the big turning points for this team. It's how the defense has been able to adjust over the past number of games, past 2 games really this weekend, to look like they're a lot more engaged. They're not allowing nearly as many high danger chances in front of their goalies. And Cayden Primeau was very solid tonight. You know, things got shaky right at the end of the game, but for most of the game until late in the 3rd period, he was good. Of course, the Flyers scored twice in the last, 2 minutes to make it a 1-goal game. It was really tight going down the stretch. But it was the defense, honestly. Like, there was 2 defensemen who were -1, and that's Mayu and Xhekaj, and especially bad because they were also on the ice for the goal 4. But Hutson looked so good defensively, and that was the big thing stood out for me for him. But not just how good he looked defensively, how many chances he was creating offensively again. And I know it's kind of just a broken record when talking about Lane Hutson at this point, but when you watch him play, the amazing passes. Like, he had one pass to Caufield that just didn't quite work, and it was insane. These breakout passes that he is looking to send up the ice, and even if he can't get that, he's bringing it in on his own. Like, look, I don't want to turn this into a full lane Hutson segment here, but there is something to be said about that. A great game from Matheson as well, again, who's up to 8 points in 9 games now. Really, really good. But of course, the story of the night was the forwards, though. It was a lot of the scoring, and namely Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield, also Brendan Gallagher. And I know George is going to love Brendan Gallagher. I know a lot of people like Brendan Gallagher down in the comments, but Nick Suzuki doing a bit of everything, right? Getting 3 block shots. He had 5 shots on goal. He had 1 goal, 1 assist. Nick Suzuki's now up to 11 points, 3 goals, 8 assists in just 9 games. And I have this little stat. So this was after Suzuki's first goal in the game, right? And I'll play the highlights actually for you one more time, just so you can see all the goals here. This is Caufield's goal. But what has really stood out for Montreal again was their depth scoring. But tonight, it looked better than I think we've seen in a long time. This Evans and Gallagher and Anderson line has been really good. They're responsible for those 2 goals. And of course, Nick Suzuki getting this one right here. The top line has been the one that's been producing, but it's those depth lines that were not really getting it done too much. And this was after Suzuki's first goal, 5-on-5 goals. That was the number 1. But as the game went on, this second spot here, Anderson, Evans, Gallagher, that's now up to 5 goals, 5-on-5 by line this season. Armia Newhook just not working out. Dach was on that line, but I don't even think he scored a goal. I think Newhook might have scored a goal. I don't even know if it was 5v5. So yeah, I think that's the only guy there. I don't know. Yeah, Armia I think was empty net, so that's not even a 5v5 goal in the last game. So really, that Anderson, Evans, Gallagher line, Jake Evans is the 2C right now. He straight up is the second line center. He has been driving so many plays. And again, if I pop this stat card back up here, you can see Jake Evans, among forwards, he was one of the best. Gallagher was the most impactful, according to hockey stat cards, of course. And then you have Nick Suzuki, followed by Jake Evans. Who else? His defense turning into offense is amazing. His penalty kill has been absolutely amazing. And I also wanted to give a shout out. I've been appearing on a few videos over on our other channel, Hat Trick HQ. It's an all NHL channel where I host with my buddies KC, Mark, Nick, and Darius from Leafs Digest are there as well. We post some videos, and I made one with KC talking about Cole Caufield and Jake Evans. So if you're interested in watching that video posted earlier today, go check out the channel, Hat Trick HQ. I'll be on a few Habs ones and maybe some other ones here and there. But again, it's that depth scoring that has really been amazing. Yes, Nick Suzuki is at 11 points now in 9 games. And yes, Cole Caufield is now up to 8 goals on the season, 8 goals in 9 games. By the way, the only guy ahead of him in terms of the Rocket Richard race is Nico Hischier. Nico Hischier has 9 goals, but it's in 12 games because New Jersey had those 2 games over in Europe, I believe in Czechia, before most other teams got their season started. So really, in terms of goals per game, Caufield's right up there. 8 goals in 9 games is something out of a, I don't even know what we could have said. Did we shoot him out of a rocket? Is that the kind of pun we're going for today? Just going to play his goal one more time. Look, this wasn't the best goal to let in from Kolosov, but he's an AHL goalie. I mean, that's a weak one for sure, but Cole Caufield knew what he was doing, putting that puck where he did. So all in all, this was a really, really fun game to watch because even though it got tough in the last minutes there, this was a turning point for Montreal. This game and the other game this weekend have signified that Montreal is willing to push back against these negative things that are coming out against them, negative things against Coach Marty. Marty's like, listen, I'm just going to let these guys play. They're going to show what they're made of. And while St. Louis and Philadelphia aren't necessarily those teams that are right at the top of that Stanley Cup race, those are not the teams Montreal is expected to be. Montreal's expected to at least be competitive and beat this type of level of team because, let's be honest, a lot of analysts, a lot of haters are putting Montreal in that same tier with the lower tier teams. And St. Louis could be good as well. Like, they have good players, but Philly definitely been a disappointment this season in large part due to their goaltending. But to be a good team, you had to take care of the teams below you. So Montreal has been doing that very, very well. They have shown that they're able to step up their game in the areas that they need to step up. The defensive end, I know Xhekaj was not doing great, but again, we saw Matheson, we saw Hutson, we saw Struble, we saw Savard all have phenomenal games defensively. Savard actually played more minutes than Hutson tonight, which shows you a little bit. You know, Savard still got some stuff in him. So all in all, I'm just super excited because not only are our top players producing in terms of points, I think Dach got another assist tonight as well, like Suzuki 7-game point streak. The depth lines are getting some points on the board. Right now, it is just that Evans, Gallagher, Anderson line where Evans gets a goal, Galley gets a goal, 1 assist, and Galley has been so impactful this season. On pace for 27 goals, by the way. everything's starting to come together. And with Monty in net, when he's on, Primeau is looking more like the bona fide backup at this point. Monty, I knew we kind of knew that coming into the season, but Monty has really solidified his place as the starter. So with some good starting goaltending in Monty, we got Jacob Fowler coming up in the future. We got Demidov coming over next year. We all seem to forget about Reinbacher, who's going to come back from injury at some point. Mailloux getting these hard-earned NHL minutes while he's still going to learn a lot of lessons he's going to have to improve upon in the future. Everything is starting to come together. We're seeing the plan before our eyes. The production we're getting from the guys we're getting on this team that lacks a lot of top scoring, a team that has a bunch of injuries like to Guhle and to Slav, things are just looking really, really good. But what do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts on this down below. Let us know, because that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate every single one of you that watches these videos. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.